I wanted to give you an update where we are in terms of the planning and for the implementation of the legislation. I don't have a slide presentation for you because things are developing quite quickly at this moment. But I hope that we will be in a position later on when we have the next stakeholder meeting in order to give you a better view of where exactly we are. In fact, there are two aspects that we have to consider. First of all, we have to go back to the management board in March of this year. As usual, we present then to the board the preliminary draft budget and the preliminary work program for the next year to come. So that is for 2012. And at that moment, we also emphasized that the budgetary requirements for the implementation are provisional because it's quite early in the year, and we also have to see what the budget would look like when we have to implement the new work program. At that meeting, and I think we have already informed you about that, there was a strategic steer which was given by the board in terms of vigilance and EUTCT, and when that would become an vigilance and the change reporting lines from pharmaceutical industry to vigilance would become available. Then we provide an update to HMA, Heads of Medicines Agencies, at their June meeting. Already we highlighted at that meeting that there are budgetary, or that there's a changing budgetary situation, which would impact on our budget for the implementation of the legislation, and that we may have to consider a so-called fallback scenario, including criteria for prioritization if the budgetary difficulties would persist. Now, the current situation is that, unfortunately, that budgetary situation is further evolving, which necessitates the development of a fallback scenario, but which will need to be flexible enough so that it can be adjusted to the budget which would be ultimately available, and we don't know that at this stage. Perhaps what I have forgotten to mention is that we have two different topics when we talk about implementing the legislation. First of all the preparatory work in terms of our technical contribution to the Commission for the implementing measures, in terms of the development of what we call reflection papers, in terms of business requirements for ICT tools, etc. All that goes ahead as planned. So I think that's a positive message I have to give first, or I should have given first. And you will have seen the output of our technical contribution to the implementing measures, because the Commission just started a public consultation exercise whereby, of course, we will have to see the outcome of that consultation, and then we will have to review, to amend, so that the Commission can adopt before July 2012. Jette will give you an update on a number of more, I would say, policy-related aspects, which we discussed at an informal HMA meeting, which was held here at the agency on the 5th of October, so I won't elaborate on that, and I will further explain to you the impact of the budget on what we're going to do. When we look into fallback scenarios, we have to prioritize, and we have to provide criteria for prioritization. And what we did was looking again at the new legislation and the objectives that have to be achieved. And we have given priority to, first of all, public health activities, followed by activities aiming at strengthening transparency and communication, and in a third instance, activities aiming at simplifying current processes with efficiency gains, primarily for pharmaceutical industry. And that was already highlighted at a previous meeting where we discussed about vigilance and when the new reporting lines would become available after a successful audit of the system. Nevertheless, if we would have a situation where we would have no additional budget for the implementation of the legislation, we would anyway already implement a number of things next year, so as of July 2012. And again, using those criteria, what may this look like? And once again, this is something that we have presented and discussed with HMA. We're also in discussion with the European Commission, and this certainly is not yet something which is put in stone. So it is a developing environment, and this makes it difficult for us because by December we need to have the work program for 2012 to be adopted by the board, and all this is like a moving target, and personally neither me nor my colleagues like to work against moving targets, but we have no other choice. What we will anyway as a minimum will do is, even if no additional budget is available, is the establishment of the new committee, the PRAC, as of July 2012. Because of the impact of the Olympic Games on London, we had to look for other scenarios. So kindly, the Commission has agreed to host the inaugural meeting of the PRAC in Brussels in July of next year. There will still be, because we don't want to run the risk that we have no product-related discussions for 2 months, there will still be a pharmacovigilance working party which will meet in Bonn at the B-Pharm offices also in July. Then the monthly meetings of the PRAC will start as of September, so for all product-related discussions. We will also establish the revised coordination group, which is the revisited, if I may call it like that, CMDH, as of September 2012. We will establish and operate the urgent union procedure, including the concept of public hearings, as of September 2012. We will operate a revised signal detection for centrally authorized products, whereby now the EMA is in the lead, supported by member states for centrally authorized products as of July 2012. We will reorientate or support that we provide to member states for signal detection for non-centrally authorized products as of July 2012, meaning that we will provide support to those member states who will be in the lead for specific active substances for non-centrally authorized products. We will continue our current data management exercise where we have a contractor who is looking at the quality of the ICSRs, individual case safety reports provided by both member states and pharmaceutical industry. This is a 4-year project whereby we are looking into detection of duplicates, etc., so that we have, let's say, that we continue to improve the quality and the integrity of the data. Maintenance work for hypervigilance was maintained as was scheduled, as well as for the hypervigilance data warehouse and analysis system, including as of January next year, Peter? Yes? Yes, access to hypervigilance data as per the implementation plan, which was published, I think, in June, July of this year. And of course, we'll have to continue all current pharmacovigilance activities. So this is what we have proposed as scenario 1, where no additional budget would be available. We have received a number of comments, primarily from the Commission, where we will further discuss. And like I mentioned to you, it is a developing story. So hopefully, by the end of this year, we will see clearer what additional budget may become available. We know that the Commission is working hard on it in order to provide us additional budget, but we can't say more at this moment in time. So what we can do is give you an update at the next meeting, and hopefully we will have a clearer picture. But then you know already at this stage what will happen as of July in a worst case scenario. So perhaps I will stop here and see if you have any particular questions that hopefully I can reply to.
Just a fairly simple one, really. The access to the hypervigilance, sorry, Margaret Walters representing FPA today. The hypervigilance access, is that going to include the downloading for companies, or is this the access to view?
Thanks for the question. The access that we're talking about for 2012 is about publishing reports on the website. So it's general access for companies, healthcare professionals, patients, the general public. It will not include a download function. The first wave, if you like, which is January, we're looking only at centrally authorized products and the substances they contain. And then as a second wave, which will hopefully be available by the end of next year, will include products authorized through mutual recognition and decentralized, as well as common, and yet to be defined precisely what we mean by common, but common drug substances, particularly well-established drug substances that are included in nationally authorized products. So no download function next year.
Can you first, before I give you the floor, state your name, because there are also people who are apparently attending through teleconference. So, yeah.
I'm Barbara Westerholm, representing Age Older People's Platform. Of course, member states are now preparing for the participation in this program, and it's rather costly for member countries also. So how do you communicate the worst case to them? Because they also have to prepare themselves for the worst case in their own country. In the country I know best, Sweden, the Drug Regulatory Agency has to employ 15 more people in order to comply with the decision made by EU. And of course, if you change things, we might also have, and this comes true also for our other member states. Thank you.
Did you say 15, 1-5 or 50? 1-5. Okay, that is for my information then. Okay, it's interesting. Thank you. Of course, this is a network. So whatever is being done will have an impact on others. I mean, we are fully aware of that. And that is why I think, have been, and here to contradict me if I'm wrong, but why we are very transparent about the various scenarios. That's why we discuss it within the various fora, with heads of agencies, with the management board. We keep them updated. We look for their feedback. And of course, some aspects are perhaps much more, let's say, limited to us, where others, like if you're talking about IT tools, for instance, or the introduction of the single pseudo-assessment process, will have an impact on the whole network. But I can assure you there is a good collaboration, there is full transparency on what is being done. At the end of the day, we have to find a consensus amongst all the different parties, but I don't think that we can complain at this moment in time that there is not a good understanding. People may have slightly different priorities, of course, but that we will see at the end of the day to what that will lead. But I can assure you that there is a good collaboration and full transparency within the network.